so I waited until I had a chance. My mother was going to be out for the evening, and I had what I figured was enough time to take the pills and be gone. And I took them, and an old friend called me on the phone while I was on my way out, and I didn't tell him what I had done, but he knew something was wrong, and came over and started feeding me coffee and trying to walk me around, and I was getting worse and worse, and they called an ambulance, took me to emergency receiving, and they thought I was dead on arrival.
Once every minute, someone attempts suicide. By this time tomorrow, 70 of these attempts will have succeeded. More than 25,000 Americans took their own lives last year, over twice as many as were murdered. Someone you know is a potential suicide victim. He or she could be a relative, a neighbor, or a friend of any race, occupation, or age. And the ultimate tragedy is that in many instances, these deaths could have been prevented.
And first thing I thought was, oh boy, I'm a ghost. And I tried to rise up out of my body, and it didn't work. But then I was angry. I was very, very angry and frustrated, and I tried to see if I had enough strength to get up and do something about it, and I did, and I went in the bathroom, slit my wrists, and my mother heard the water running, came in and took me down to a hospital where they sewed me up. Then my mother said, what do you want to do? She had no idea what to do. And I said, I want to go to the beach. So we drove to the beach, and I think that was the strongest religious experience I've ever had in my life, was being able to see the beach again, and all I could think of was, if I had died, I never would have seen the ocean.
Suicide Prevention Center, may I help you?
Another call for help reaches a volunteer at one of this country's 300 suicide prevention centers. Unfortunately, most people feeling suicidal do not call, and the rest of us are unaware that we can help. I'm Mario Machado. Suicide is the number 10 cause of death in the United States, and yet suicide is predictable and preventable. Today on Medics, we'll tell you how. Join us. What you will learn is vitally important.
This is Alice, but I'd like to know if there's something I can do for you. Is it loaded? What will you do with the gun? I'm not trying to send someone over there, Lynn. I just want to talk to you for a while. Are you alone, Lynn? Your baby is there? What will happen to your baby if you use the gun, Lynn? How do you think your baby will feel without her mother? I think it's very important that we do talk about it.
I left the house. When I did leave, I remember going into the bathroom, finding anything and everything that had a prescription label on it. I took that, as well as stopping at a drugstore, and bought a extra large bottle of sleeping pills and a bottle of booze. And the reason why I stopped and did it, I really don't know. I was just, I was tired. I took all of the pills. I washed it down with liquor. And for some reason, thank God, I must have had a will to live, because I found my way back to the hospital.
I just figured, well, the children would really be better off without me. In fact, the whole world would be better off without me. What did I really have to offer? And so I did. I went to the motel and took, I don't even know how many pills, but there are a great deal. And this time I wanted it to work. I wasn't emotional, very, just like it was a matter-of-fact day. And needless to say, it wasn't.
I'm afraid to leave you alone right now. I'm very concerned about what will happen to you, because I'm afraid that you might hurt yourself. But you will be hurting someone else. Then you'll be hurting everyone around you and everyone that knows you, and you'll be hurting your baby.
I was having family problems. My wife and My parents didn't get along too well. I was trying to keep everyone happy and try and get all of the family together. On the employment side, things were building up there also, where I was given a promotion. Things didn't work out. I had to take a step back, and which kind of upset me, as well as within a 3-month period, 2 buddies of mine were killed in the war, and we had lost 2 friends. And it kept building up, and I was like most men. I was afraid to let my emotions and my feelings out. I felt, you know, I'm a man. I can't have feelings, you know. But this wasn't true, and I learned this the hard way.
I fell madly in love when I was 15, and he turned out to be a real bum. And I thought that should never happen to anybody. That was never on the Late Late Show. It was always a happy ending. And then I got married when I was 18 to someone I'd known for 2 weeks, but he seemed like a nice guy, and turned out he was an alcoholic. And I was very disappointed that I didn't get the happy ending again.
My husband and I, at that time, we hadn't had a happy marriage for quite a number of years. And I went through with the divorce, and suddenly I had the full responsibility not only of myself, but maintaining a home, of the children, and everything. And it was an awful burden, believe me.
Then you can't leave now, not until you know what you're going to do with your baby. Lynn, why don't you tell me what your last name is? Will that make any difference? But I thought you said you were going to do something, Lynn. I don't believe you. I'm very concerned about you.
My wife and I got in an argument over something extremely picky-onish. We did get into an argument, and I started hollering and screaming at her that she didn't care, and that all, you know, this was too much, she couldn't handle it, and she wasn't going to stand by me. And at that time, I don't know why, everything just kind of flashed, and I grabbed my wife by both her arms and pushed her up against the wall, and I hit her. This is something I have never done in my life, prior or after. I feel it's something no man should ever do. And after I did, I felt so small. I felt so bad that is when I left, got in the truck, and I took off. I was saying, you know, what are you, an animal? You know, I just said, look what's happening. You can't cope with this. You're turning like an animal. You know, you don't belong in society. You know, you're just an outcast. And that is when I attempted to take my life.
Lynn, do you feel that this is the only way out for you? You're not able to do that right now because you're feeling so bad. You're right about that, Lynn, and I'm not trying, I wasn't generalizing. I was just, from talking with you, I was assuming that since you were feeling so bad. Well, I know you are feeling bad. That's right. I don't think you can. I don't think you are.
They say loneliness is the horriblest feeling in the world, and it is. I felt so completely alone. The loneliness, there was just nobody that I could turn to. And yet, of course, now I realize there are all kinds of people I could have. I think you just get to the point where you think no one cares.
I went ahead because I didn't know what else to do. I had no idea. I thought I had tried everything. I thought I had tried all kinds of ways of making contact with people, and I had had lots of contact with people, but I had never really gotten to know anyone well enough. And I had never really told anyone that I wanted help.
Are you feeling that no one wants to help you then? Is there someone else that's close to you that you might want to talk to? Would you like to call me tomorrow night?
I'm just like the guy next door. You know, you look at your neighbor and you say, he's a great guy, there's nothing wrong with him. But you never know. You know, it's something, it can happen to anybody. You know, if I were to sit back, if I could look back a year prior to this happen, if I ever asked myself the question, did I think I would ever attempt to take my life? I would laugh in a, you know, I'd go hysterical. I mean, it'd be the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of. But it happened.
There's probably no one who hasn't felt a lot of the things that I felt. And as far as getting depressed or wanting to just end it all, most of the people that I really get to know have felt that way. And some people that I know have actually done it. And they're gone, and I'm really sorry.
A recent survey found that at one time or another, 80% of us have contemplated suicide as a way out. Suicide is a terrible yet utterly natural reaction to situations where human beings are pressed beyond their own limits of emotional endurance. But while people who attempt suicide want to die, they are also calling desperately to be saved. They leave a trail of clues that give definite warnings of their intent. Being aware of these clues and responding with appropriate help could make the difference between life and death.
All right, but you have promised me that you won't do anything until we talk again tomorrow. Is that right? And you're not going anywhere tonight. No, I won't. We will trust each other, won't we? All right, Lynn, then we've made a promise, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night.
I told him we weren't, here to get into a literary discussion.
Yeah, we don't handle Thomas Mann.
Hey, hold it just a sec. Suicide Prevention Center, may I help you? Yeah, hold on just one moment, Lynn. Hey, Alice, it's Lynn again.
What's the matter? I thought she was all right now.
I don't know, but I guess you better talk to her. She's on 4.
You called to break the promise? But Lynn, that's not fair. You made the promise. I know you're feeling that's best for you right now. You might feel that way tomorrow, and you might feel that way this week. But you're young, and you have a whole life ahead of you, and you might not feel that way next month. I know you want to go away. I know that, and I understand that feeling. It's not okay. It is not okay. No, 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 it's not. Sometimes it is. Yes, you're right. No. I won't give you permission. I won't do that. I can't. I cannot.
In my attempt to kill myself, I feel it was an attempt to say, please, somebody, understand me, help me. No, I honestly don't feel I wanted to die, but I wanted to get away from it. I couldn't take it anymore. And I thought maybe this would show somebody that, hey, this is true. This is really happening to me.
People, by and large, commit suicide when they are desperate, when they feel there's no other way out. Most people who commit suicide don't so much desire to be dead, but they do desire to be out of the situation which they are in.
There is ambivalence, which is the presence of contradictory feelings within the person at the same time, or maybe oscillating back and forth relatively quickly between these feelings. And a person might want both to live and to die, to love and to hate at the same time going on within him. And it's just exactly the fact that this ambivalence is present which is one of the most salutary factors for us. Because it is this fact that even though he may be talking or acting strongly, hurting himself or declaring that he will, he is also expressing the need, the desire, the wish to be rescued.
I'll do everything I can to hold you. I will. No, I can't. I can hold you with my voice.
The one message that we want to get across to as many people as possible is that one can save a life by being alert to his fellow man.
Because your arms look healthy, your color is there, you're not walking around like a mummy, I mean, they feel you're healthy. Where, you know, the mind is just as much part of the body as the arm and the stomach. And if your arm was in a cast or your leg was in a cast, they know you're sick. But when your mind is, they can't see it.
I would say that when a friend has a change in personality, that's a warning signal. When the change is in the direction of a withdrawal from social life and from friendship, that's a danger signal. When a person to whom you express your personal interest says something like, it's hopeless, or I haven't got a chance, or I've just about given up, I can't take it anymore, that's a signal for finding out more about it and maybe enlisting extra help.
I think you reach a stage where you're so overtired, that you're so wound up that you do change. I'm sure that your attitudes, your reaction to different things are different, and I'm sure mine was. I blew up a few times at little things, you know. Things took on a greater deal of importance to me than they should have or normally would have. I think you just go along in your little old world that you just, you don't recognize the change in yourself.
There are certain special symptoms that seem to go with the suicidal state, and these are symptoms of special depression, psychological symptoms of being all tired out, of being blue, sad, crying, feeling helpless, and feeling hopeless. And some physical symptoms, especially sleeplessness, loss of appetite, loss of pleasure, and loss of energy. All these things going together, those are danger signals. And if you have a friend who's going through many of them combined, that might be a time for you to ask something like, sometimes you wish you were dead? And if the answer is yes, that's a time to look for help from the Suicide Prevention Center.
Mm-hmm. But you've gotten this far, Lynn. It sounds like you've accomplished a lot. Do you like what you're doing? Mm-hmm. It sounds like that would give you something to live for. Mm-hmm. But if she was able to help you, maybe there's someone else that you haven't met yet that can help you. When you need Scotch tape, sort of something to hold you together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe I could do that, Lynn.
At that point in my life, because of the divorce, and I pulled into myself, if I'd been able to talk to somebody or to explain myself or even bring it out into the open to myself even, instead of kind of hiding the feelings and feeling ashamed of them and, you know, the thoughts that you do have that, well, who knows?
All of us are in a significant other relationship with somebody who is close and important. We want them to feel ready and willing to be alert and to help us at the same, and we should, in the same degree, be able and ready and willing to help them. And this means being sensitive to the fact that people will go up and will go down in their feelings and moods many times, and that frequently when this mood is at a low point, the most important possible kind of a factor that can be extended to them is evidence, real, personal, genuine evidence of a sense of caring, a sense of concern, a sense of worthwhileness that exists for all of us.
It happened to me, and it can happen to anybody. But if people would let it be known that it's something that can be overcome, it is something that they don't have to be ashamed of. No, it's something you don't go around bragging about. And everyone is ashamed in a way, but it's something that you don't mop under the rug back in the corner. And I feel by showing my face and talking that people will understand that it can happen to anybody, or, like I said, the man next door. I want to try and help somebody. And if I can help in any way, this is the important thing.
I got a lot of help from a lot of people, people who didn't even realize they were helping me, and a lot of people that I had to ask, and I had to learn how to ask. But it started with the people who saw that there was a need before I could ask. And I just like to repay some of those people.
I want to hear it from you. All right. You won't do anything until I call you tomorrow. That's your promise. All right, then. And I will keep my promise, too. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right, thank you, Lynn. Good night.
Just as we have been alerted to the warning signs of cancer and heart disease, we should learn the danger signals that warn of suicide. 1, a suicide attempt. 4 of 5 people who commit suicide have tried it previously. 2, talk about suicide. People who threaten suicide often mean it. 3, a sudden change in personality, especially withdrawal from social life and isolation from friends. 4, depression, feeling blue, alone, helpless, and hopeless. 5, physical symptoms of sleeplessness, loss of appetite, exhaustion, weight loss, and decreased sexual drive often accompany depression. 6, preparations, such as obtaining devices for a suicide attempt, giving away possessions, or making a will. 7, crisis situations when suicide is most likely to occur. They include illness, economic difficulties, marital problems, death in the family, and failure at work or school. If a person you know shows some of these symptoms, he may be feeling suicidal. Talk to him. Help him to see that he is worthwhile, that you care, and that there is hope. If necessary, call your nearest suicide prevention center, mental health clinic, clergyman, or family doctor. Remember, you could be saving a life. Thank you, and join us again on Medics.
Yeah, it does sound like it is kind of a lot of medicine. Have you tried to vomit? Mm-hmm. Yeah, can you make yourself vomit? Can you do that right now? I'll hold on. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, this is something we can't always be sure of. And it's really best to get that medicine out of your stomach. And have you ever done this before? When you started taking the pill, I'm wondering what caused you to start taking these pills this afternoon. Mm-hmm. Is this something new, this pain that you have? What do you mean?